Oh, sister. Okay, good.
Alright, my computer won't let me in. Isn't it?
Doesn't flow.
Yes, because it's stupid song. This one's not stupid.
Okay. It is 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting of the City of Morrison City Council to order. Clerk is absent. City Administrator is filling that role. Would you call the roll?
Bruckner,
Here.
Buckwalter,
Here.
Mahaffey,
Here,
Schlegel,
Here.
Bell, no, Tickler.
Here.
All right, check the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have one person signed in for public comment, Harvey? Push and hold.
Push and hold.
Until the green light stays on. There you go.
Good evening, folks. I think I've been at the committee for 12 years. I'm on the other side of the fence tonight. Scope I want to talk about here is cemetery building. Mick and I were on this committee probably 5 years ago. We worked at wood building, we worked on steel buildings. It became not necessary to work on that building anymore after a few years. The council wanted the street building have the priority, so we kind of left that building and went on to the street building. One thing I see here under scope of services, cost estimating. I don't believe in cost estimating. Then there's down under proposals required, detailed preliminary cost estimates. With an estimate, you can put anything out there and get the bid. Then you can come back and maybe charge $100,000 more. It has to be a solid bid. It can't be a guesstimate or an estimate. Then on projects specifications, you got the size of the building and all this and that, which is all right. I'm not sure a 10-foot door is what we need. I'm looking at more of a 12-foot. 3 openings and 12-foot. We had down for roof pitch gable 412. 412 is fine for a wood building, but a steel building could have a 2 foot every 12 feet. Then we come down to foundations and flooring, concrete with frost wall and footing. Standard height and thickness. What the heck is standard height and thickness? That can be anything. And then we get down to the big thing. You're only looking for a wood frame with a steel roof and a side and steel siding. I think that's wrong. You should be able to let every type of building be on this sheet. When Mick and I looked at a wick building and a steel building, back then there was $900,000 difference between a wood building and a steel building, with the steel building being the cheapest. Fully insulated. What does that mean? Could mean anything. Then you got down on the bottom, we got office area, interior walls, and ceiling finished with sheet rock and drywall. You really don't have sheet rock and drywall in the same building. So, I think you need to look at this whole package and rework it. Thank you.
All right,
Can I comment on that?
actually, no.
Okay.
The public comment is public comment. It's not give and take. I did some research on that.
Okay,
And take that
Perfect.
into consideration and move on. Chief is here. You've submitted a written report. Is there anything to add?
Yes, I forgot to add that Dan Simmons helped the North Sider kindergartens go fishing.
Oh, great.
did they catch anything?
Yeah, they did actually.
All right. Thank you. Are there any questions for the chief? You have his written report and his additional comments. Nathan?
Yeah, well, spring soccer is finished. We had over 120 kids for soccer. The next week, we'll start in here, the forensic CSI camp for the kids. That got filled up pretty fast. We're actually 2 over what we're supposed to have, but that'll be every Wednesday in June. And then family bingo will start June 5th, Thursday night here. For June, July, and August. Then it'll go back to Golden Age of bingo. And then we have so far 70 kids signed up for T-ball. That starts June 16th. Monday, for the opening day. And then we have ZOWA wrestling coming back. End of next month, Friday, June 29th.
Right.
We're pretty popular, so we'll get a bigger crowd than last year.
Crazy. Thank you. City Administrator, you had a couple of comments?
Oh, yes, real quick. Hopefully I'll come back to that when it comes back up. The TV was going through an update, but I wanted to show you something very simply and very quickly on the website. But I'll come back to that if we can during the meeting, once the TV comes back up. One other thing I would like to, well, I'll just wait and talk about it during the agenda item of the cemetery building. So that's all I have to report at this time.
Okay. We can do a pause and interrupt when our technology comes back. Okay. There are 7 items on the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to remove any one of those items?
Yeah, number 5.
Okay, number 5 has been pulled. The remaining agenda items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Is there a motion to approve those as consent? It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. It's on the floor for discussion. Are there any questions? Sit down, Alderman Mahaffey,
That's fine.
Alderperson Mahaffey.
Did I read right that for the wine walk, they want to allow open alcohol on the streets? That was part of their request?
Yes, I added that to the request after they had turned it in a conversation with one of the Department of Fund members. They wish to allow during the event only to basically on the sidewalks only, not in the street, nothing like that, but be able to carry their cup from destination to destination on the wine walk. They're going to try and still promote everybody to finish their wine in the business before they leave, but just so there aren't any problems and policing it. They just thought it would be easier if the council was in support of it. to allow them to walk down the sidewalk with the wine.
So I just want to put on record, my only concern is, previously when we've done this, one of the establishments has sponsored that event and also included that umbrella under their dram insurance. But to allow people to walk on the city sidewalks, who's covering that? Who's liability? Who absorbs that liability in case of incident? You know, hopefully there will be no incident, but we can't count on that, right?
Right.
So what kind of liability do we, avert allowing that people to walk from establishment to establishment with open alcohol containers? There's a lot of liability there. That's just my concern.
They've done that before, haven't they?
It's always
Yeah.
been closed off in an area and one of the bars has always, it's usually Lynn that will pull and carry the event umbrella under her dram insurance, her liability
For
insurance.
this event? Included in-
They've never been allowed to walk with open alcohol on the street for this event previously. This is a new, to me anyhow. I think before the only place they were allowed to be out was where the bars sanctioned it in a closed off area, right? At least that's my recollection. Please correct me if I'm incorrect.
Yeah. Well, they are, not that this matters to the alcohol issue. They are requesting to close off Genesee between Main and 30, but there's not gonna be any outside alcohol serving vendors
Mhm.
in that area. They're gonna use that for, I don't
Street
really even know,
vendors.
yeah. But so with the wine walk, as long as they're within the business and the business is giving the alcohol away, that business does not need an alcohol or liquor license. Because there will be businesses that offer tastings.
Correct.
This is a wine tasting. It's not you're
Correct.
going in there and drinking a bottle of it, but tastings. And then somebody walks out inadvertently with a half a glass or a little bit left in their alcohol, in their wine glass to the next stop. They just didn't want any issues with that. They're not,
I think the cups are all.
yeah, they're
No, they're
wine
small,
tastings,
and I
small
think-
sizes.
Listen,
So,
just to say, I think overall it's handled very responsibly.
Yeah.
Until it isn't,
Right.
right? And so
To your point.
what I do, our job is to look at the worst case scenario and protect the city against any
absolutely.
liability. So that is my concern. If we're sanctioning it, we're opening ourselves up to say we're accepting liability. That's
Sure.
my opinion.
Well, that's a bigger can of worms because
Yeah.
ultimately the person is responsible for their own actions and behavior. We can't, that's no different than any other scenario with a tavern or a bar in town. So, but I'm not trying to talk you into approving it. I'm
No.
just.
I just want to make sure, because I have concerns about this
Sure.
and protecting the city's exposure towards liability for
Sure.
that event. It's one thing being all, everything's all fun and great until it's not. So.
Yep.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on those items in the consent agenda? If not, would you please call the roll?
Bruckner,
Yes.
Buckholder,
Yes.
Mahaffey,
Yes,
Schlegel,
Yes.
Tickler.
Yeah.
Motion carries.
All right. Item 5, Alderman
Yeah,
Schlegel.
this might be slightly nitpicky, but we're approving something that's already happened. I know when people come to get approval, I mean, they know the normal days coming up, but does everybody know when they get a permit like that, it goes through council? I mean, is that in the guidelines? Because
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just,
seems a little contradictory that we're approving because it's already happened, not that it's a big deal. I'm just thinking moving forward. Somebody else comes
Yeah.
before we ever meet, or do we meet specially before that event if there's something that's in question?
Well, we could have, but this is something we've done every year. They apply for it every year. The timing just didn't fall right for them. And we've done this way
Correct.
sporadically in the past, just as a formality. Hence the email I sent out last week,
Correct.
which nobody seemed to be in opposition to. If there was some controversy or some conversation that need to be had, then we would have.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Just moving forward, if it
Mhm.
lands in between our meetings, are you gonna just send out another email again? And then we'll just, if anybody has an issue, we'll flag it.
Well, if it's something as traditional as this, perhaps we'll continue doing this unless the council wants to have a special meeting. But if it's like the wine walk or something like that, we're gonna meet and discuss that. I just trying to avoid having a special meeting for a parade permit.
I heard you. I'm good with it.
And it was nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, okay.
Same thing over and over again, so.
Yeah, no, appreciate your concern, and there was some discussion about that. The person who applies for the permit was just behind, and he knew it. Everybody knew it, so. But thank you, no, it's worth discussion. That having been said, is there a motion to approve the parade permit?
Someone,
Second,
Is there any further discussion? All right, there's no money involved. All those in favor? Any opposed? Carries. Looks like your television is back. Want to take this moment for.
Gotta love technology. Okay, really quick, if you could turn your attention to the TV. I just want to show you guys all something, just so you know, and so you can share this with the public going forward. Should you ever need, you don't get an email, you don't get something for a council meeting, on our website, and I've been doing this for a little while, but I don't know that a lot of people notice it because it doesn't get a lot of hits. But I wanted to show you at the bottom is our community calendar. Okay, here's the community calendar. If you click on see all events, because it only shows so many events at one time, it'll take you to the calendar of events. And so if we look at May here, it's highlighted. Go down to today's date. I'll get to it here. Come on. If you click on the calendar date for the council meeting, shows it right here. And you'll see that the agenda and the packet and the meeting link are all right here in the calendar for the meeting. So you, as well as anybody that has internet access, can go there and double click on the agenda. The agenda pops up. And the same with the packet's there and the meeting link. So you don't necessarily have to, you'll still get the email with all these links as well, but some point in the future, I would like just to say, send out a quick email and say, the council links have been posted on the community calendar.
Yeah.
And then you just go there to get it. And if there's anything separate that the council needs that isn't being dispersed to the public at that time, then that would be in the email. But this is here for you, this is here for the public, and it's very, very easy and slick to use. And all you would have to do is hit the meeting link if they want to watch it online. They don't have to go through an email or find it anywhere else. It's right here on our community calendar. So it's pretty neat stuff, and I just wanted to point that out to you guys. So in case anybody asks you about it, just tell them to go to the community calendar and that date.
Computer, Brian. No fair.
I'll come to City
Hall.
You can, there's
People can-
computers right in that room right over there.
We have a computer in our lobby at
That's
City
right.
Hall,
There's
and
one
we
at
can,
City Hall.
and we can print out a paper copy.
And people can put their events in that same link
Yes,
on the city website.
Yeah, there's a doc for,
Yeah.
right up there under documents.
yeah, and so if
How do-
anybody asks you about the community calendar, I'll go back and on the main website at the bottom at community calendar, if somebody wants to add their event, right, here's a box, add your event. You click on it and it shows the rules of what you
How
have
to
to do
do
to
it.
get it. And what can be posted and whatnot. It's all right here.
You know,
Easy peasy.
I just want to throw this out there because, again, a lot of people were frustrated saying they didn't know about the Memorial Day parade.
I read some
Yeah, and
comments.
some people were like, well, it's always been that way. I think we need to make a directed effort, even all of us, even people that work for the city, to get that information out there to people.
Right.
Especially,
That's why I'm trying to push this community calendar more and more, because those events are on there. And
something I
And
think,
sometimes, I'm gonna say it over and over again, sometimes you can lead a horse to water, you just can't make him drink. I mean, it's there. It's on on the city's website. There's a lot of information on our website. If people just go to it and spend some time there.
we can help bolster that.
You're right.
Yep. I've read it down with a lot of people. No matter how much we share stuff, no matter how much stuff there, just trying to make people pay attention.
But we'll keep trying. We'll keep trying. So I just wanted to point that out to you.
Okay. Next item is the cemetery building, the design and build contract, a draft request for proposal starting on page 15. And we've already had some discussion about it. I don't know, city administrator, if you want to tee that up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the first draft of a bid spec for a request for proposals, bids, whatever you want to call it, for the cemetery building. Please keep in mind that this is a new statute and this is a new approach to municipalities doing a one action design build project. The design spec itself is going to be very general. It's not gonna necessarily, this one probably has a little more detail than it really needs under the new statute. But as part of the new statute requirement to do a design and build project, you have to put in an estimated budget for the project. That's why there's an estimated budget for the project in this bid spec. A lot of this is just standard language. And really where we need to get into the detail is whether or not you want to spend an estimated budget of the 325,000 or less or more. And then you get into some of the project specifications. This is probably where it's probably a little more detailed than it really needs to be, because again, we are bidding out for a contractor to help us design and build the building. So not all the specifications have to be in there. I did add some specifications because I wanted those that are bidding on it to have some kind of idea of what we're trying to build. And some of the details to include the size of garage doors, I've gone over and over with the public works staff, specifically the cemetery staff, and what equipment they plan to put in the building. And 10 feet is more than enough than what they need. Yes, we could put 12-foot garage doors, 14-foot, whatever you want, but the more you put on it, the larger you make it, the more it's gonna cost. You can decide whether or not you want a wood frame or steel frame or bid it out for both. Recent research that I've done, not an expert, not an engineer, but what I have been able to learn recently in putting this bid spec together is that nowadays a wood structure is cheaper than a steel structure. I guess we would see if that's what you guys want to do in bidding it out. Bid it out both ways. It wouldn't hurt. So I just wanted to make it clear that this is a new approach to building a building. It's an efficient way. And it's purposefully supposed to be general. So I'm not looking for any action tonight. I just wanted to present this to you, to the public, and have you review it. And if you have any thoughts, ideas, requests, anything that you would like to change about the bid spec, please let me know. And then when this council is ready, you will approve the bid spec and we will put it out. That's all I have.
Okay. It is not up for action, but I would suggest that any comment, question is appropriate at this time.
So with this bid spec, when we send that out for the contractor, so contractors will come back with their best laid ideas. We ultimately have the decision, whatever that cost is or would be, to pull the trigger, yes or no. So with that being said, are we, with this spec, are we more looking for the contractor that's coming back to us with their best ideas, costing, things like that? Or I mean, if we have three contractors, all three could be totally different. I know it's new, a new concept to the cities,
Right. Well, there'll be a bid spec form that they have to submit.
and that's loosely off of whatever.
Yes, it'll come off the final.
So
It'll
that's
come
what
off.
we'll base it off of the,
That final form will be based off the specs you approve. And in that bid that they submit, it won't necessarily have the design of the building,
correct,
because again,
yeah,
there'll be a contract.
Yeah.
That will solidify the amounts and everything for the project. And at that time, they may have different ideas.
Right.
Well, you could do it this way or this way to
Right.
make it fit within what you need and what you have to spend.
All right, any other questions, comments, discussion? Okay, again, another discussion item, not for action, the notion of having outdoor eating areas on Main Street. City Administrator Melton has mentioned this a few times in his written emails to us prior to council meetings. I wonder if you have any further comments on that?
Just a quick update, going back and forth with Alderman Schlegel on this idea. I was able to put a draft ordinance together that he's now reviewing, and will butcher and get back to me, or if anybody else wishes to see it too, at this point. We can certainly share, it's no big secret. I just know he was passionate about it, so I wanted to get it to him. But I can certainly share it with everybody. It's in the end, I think it'd be pretty basic and straightforward, because we want to allow this, well, for your consideration to allow these small cafes to just help our downtown businesses. So while making sure that our pedestrians are safe on the sidewalks. So
I'm gonna review it this week and get back to Brian, and then hopefully we can bounce it back and forth and get the final draft and get this thing moving while we're having this next one.
And yeah, and whatever ideas you have, email City Hall.
Yeah.
Make sure you say, I want this idea considered or something like that.
And I can send it out to everybody too, if you're interested in seeing it. I'll just throw it in an email and if you're interested, read it.
I-
If not,
You know, I do like the idea of a couple people really sculpting it so that everybody else then has something that's a little bit halfway done as opposed to only partially done, so. All right. Questions, comments on that? All right, if not, it is appropriate for a motion to exit public session and move into executive session.
So we're.
Second.
All those in favor? All right.
Just take a look. Yeah.
So we're gonna ask the chief to remain.
but he'll come back in a
Okay.
second. I wanna,
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't
just
go
wait out there,
far.
don't go far.
Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, gentlemen. Sorry, you're already gone.
You get.
Yeah. Family day,
Yeah.
recordings and turn off the recordings. And, and unmute yourself. All right. At 7:41, we are back in public session. There's nothing further on the agenda, so at this point, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Second.
Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, I declare the meeting adjourned at 7:42. Thank you
Thank you
all.